Hey, my name's Stevie, and today we are going to learn a little bit more about passing and shooting a soccer ball. So I'm going to go over the various ways to strike the ball in order to achieve the shot or pass that you would like, and then hopefully you can learn something from that and or at least have something to practice on and improve your skills. All right? So, let's get started. When approaching the logistics of a pass, you have to realize what part of your foot you need to utilize in order to achieve the shot or pass that you would like. It's more or less physics of the foot. So I like to think of my foot as a golf wedge because essentially, however you wedge your foot on the ball or however you strike the ball, I should say, will create the effect that you would like. So you really have to think about your body, and that's what the practice is about, so it can become natural. So it might seem a little complicated right now, but more or less I'm going to kind of go over where your foot should be hitting the ball in order to get the shot and or pass you want. Today I will be covering four main passes. The first pass is called a push pass, the second is a one touch, the third is a chip, and the fourth is a cross. When approaching a push pass, the most important thing to realize is that you must utilize the inside of your foot right here. And it's also important to kind of lock your leg. I like to think of my leg often as a mini putt club. Never got into golf, so mini putts all where it was at. And you also need to focus on where you strike the ball. So it's more or less, if you hit under the ball, it's going to go up. If you hit the center of the ball, it's going to stay on the ground. So really important to keep your ball, or excuse me, your foot with the ball within the center area. So more or less, that's just what you're doing. You're locking. This leg is your plantar foot, and this is kind of a compass or a directional, like a rudder, tells you where you're going. So if you want to pass this way, you want to pass this way, just like that. All right, so let's actually do this thing. The next pass that we will focus on is the one touch pass. And it's essentially a push pass where you're keeping the ball going continually and you're not trapping it, you're just kicking it right back as soon as you receive it. It is also a good idea to stay on your toes when you're not passing the ball because that allows you to receive the ball in a really efficient way and then feed it back. The next pass is the chip pass, and this can get a little tricky to be honest. I've been rusty on it myself, so I'm going to try and show you where you're supposed to strike it and how you're supposed to kind of move your body while you're striking it as well to create the loft or the arc pass. I apologize that my skills aren't up to par, but I'll do what I can to explain. When you're chipping the ball, you are leaning back and creating like the loft because you're basically acting like a wedge. And when you lean back and your follow through leans back, it makes the ball go upwards. Okay, so in terms of where you need to strike the ball, this is also like a chip in the way that you're trying to get under the ball and create that angle and that arc because you want the ball to go over people and essentially cross in front of the net. With that, you need to also turn your hips. Hips are a big thing with crosses because if you don't kind of hit your hips when you're making that swing, the ball will probably go straight forward and not where you need it to go, to the left or to the right, whichever way you're kicking. With a cross, you're stepping in, you're hitting it with kind of the side part of your foot, and you're getting under it, and it's a little bit more powerful than a chip. Chip is a bit airy. It's kind of a fluffy pass, so to speak, more of a finesse. This is kind of a powerful kick. I mean, these can be lofty as well. I shouldn't say that, but I like to, I guess, make mine a little bit stronger than my chip personally. But once again, all about preference and how it floats through the air and the elements. So there's a lot of different factors that go into it, but I will be able to show you this a little bit better in real time in just a moment. The last portion of this tutorial will cover shooting. And what you're really just going to be doing is taking the skills that you've already learned within the individual passes and then applying it with a little bit more gusto, so to speak. In terms of if you want a hard shot on the ground, you would really want to get over it. You want your knee over it, you want to bend over it, and you really need to strike it with your laces. And the reason you need to get over it is so that it stays on the ground, because just as we were speaking earlier with, striking the ball on the side and keeping it on the ground, you don't want to hit it, and have your body go like backwards, because then it's going to loft up. Instead, you need to get over it and drill it if you want to keep it low and on the ground. Now, if you want to do a loftier shot, obviously you can use kind of like the side of your foot like we did with, the crossing and some of the other passes, but you really kind of need to lean back if you want it to go up, just like you would in a pass. So this isn't anything new. It's not rocket science. It's just putting it all together and making it work.